going on YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Smell What Coop is Cooking. On last week's episode, we made that fire beer can chicken. And a lot of you guys were asking, Coop, what are you gonna do with all that leftover chicken? Well, this week on today's episode, I'm gonna show you guys exactly what we're gonna do with it, because today we're making chicken pot pies. Let's go. All right, for this chicken pot pie, here are the ingredients that we're going to be using. I've got my chicken already broken down, my leftover chicken. I've gone ahead and shredded that up. I've got some frozen carrots and peas. I've got some chopped garlic, a seasoning mixture of celery seed, ground thyme, and Montreal chicken seasoning. I've also got some flour here with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Got a couple of knobs of butter, some chopped onions and celery, and chicken stock. Round it out with a couple of eggs and some bread flour. And now for the pie crust. Feel free to go out and buy the puff pastry that's already pre-made at your grocery store. But today we are going to be making a fresh pie crust. Into a mixing bowl, I'm going to add my flour. Full recipes in the description for those of you guys asking. Once I've got my flour in the bowl, I'm also going to add a couple of tablespoons of butter as well. And with this, I'm going to use my hands and pinch this butter into the flour until I get a slightly crummy consistency. Next, once you've got that crummy consistency you're looking for, go ahead and crack 2 eggs, add those into your bowl, and then mix that with a fork until your pastry becomes dough-like. If your pastry is too wet, go ahead and add a little bit more flour onto it. This will help you tighten it up and bring you that pastry consistency you're looking for. Once your pastry is formed, go ahead and flour your hands and then gather up all that pastry and start to form it into a dough ball. Once you've got your pastry dough ball all rolled up, go ahead and add that into a bowl and sit that inside your fridge and let that chill out for about an hour or two to set. Now, while that pastry crust is in the fridge chilling out, let's start making our filling for the pie. Into my preheated cast iron pan, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of cooking oil. Once that cooking oil heats up, I'm going to throw in my chopped onions and my celery. Saute those up a bit, and then once they start to cook down and soften slightly, then I'm going to go in with my chopped garlic. Cook that garlic until fragrant, and add in a couple of tablespoons of butter. Then once our butter is melted into that celery and onions and garlic, I'm going to add in a couple of tablespoons of flour. Gonna go ahead and cook that up until it starts to smell slightly nutty. Once my flour's been cooked into it properly, I'm gonna slowly start introducing the chicken stock into it. I'm just going to add a little bit at a time, stir to incorporate, and then add more. I'm going to let that simmer a little bit. Once it starts to thicken up some, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more tablespoons of butter. And now that my roux is finished, I'm going to add my leftover shredded chicken. Stir that in just a little bit. Next, I'm going to go in with my carrots and my peas. Now that little seasoning mixture we made earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Along with my Worcestershire sauce. Stir it all up and then bam, there you go. This is gonna be our filling for this chicken pot pie. Now that our filling is finished and our pie crust has chilled, let's go ahead and take that out of the fridge and get it ready to flatten. On a flat surface here, I'm gonna add some flour, and I'm also gonna roll my rolling pin into this flour so that gets coated as well. Once all appropriate surfaces have been adequately floured, I'm gonna add my pastry on top, and I'm just gonna start rolling it flat. Now that my pastry's been flattened out with an area large enough to fit inside my pie pan, I'm gonna lift up this pie crust and lay it on top of my pie pan. I've pre-dusted this with some flour to prevent sticking. And I'm just gonna fix this pie crust into the edges and into the corners. And once I got that pie crust fitted inside my pan, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off that excess pastry. But do not throw this away, you guys. You wanna keep this. This is what we're gonna use to flatten out for our pie top. Now that I got my bottom of my pie crust inside of my pan, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in my filling. Pack all that filling in so you can get as much chicken possible inside of your pie. Pie has been filled with chicken filling. Gonna go ahead and crack some freshly grated black pepper on top, and that is going to be it. Now let's go over and make our top. Going to go ahead and add some more flour onto my surface here, and the same thing we did with our pie crust for the bottom of the pie. I'm going to do the same thing with that excess dough. Roll it into a ball, put it on my surface, grab my rolling pin, and then flatten that out until this area is also large enough to fit on top of your pie. Once I've achieved that, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my pastry crust, and I'm gonna lay that on top of my pie, using any excess dough to fix all the little holes and spots that are around that still need to be covered. You can fix this with your fingers, or you can be even fancier and grab yourself a little fork to kind of crimp your edges. But we're going for the rustic look around here, so I'm just gonna use my fingers, y'all. And voila, our pie has been topped. Into a bowl, I'm gonna crack another egg, beat that egg up. Once it's been beaten and mixed properly, I'm gonna go ahead and take a brush and brush this on top of my pie crust. This is gonna help the top of my pie get that golden brown crust I'm looking for. Brush that all over. Then I'm gonna take a little knife. I'm gonna cut a little cross out of the center here to allow that steam and that heat from inside of this chicken pot pie to escape. Now I'm gonna preheat my oven to 375 degrees. Take my chicken pot pie, whack it in, and after about 45 minutes, the most delicious, luxurious chicken pot pie is coming out. And after 45 minutes, here is your chicken pot pie. Looking good. Now, as badly as I want to dig into this right now, I'm going to let this pie rest for about a half an hour. After my pie is adequately rested, I'm going to go ahead and take a sliver out of this bad boy so we can get a taste. Let's go ahead and cut a generous sliver out of this chicken pot pie. Look at that, you guys. Oh, it looks so delicious. Look at that filling. All throughout this pie, you see the bits of onion, carrots, peas. That delicious leftover beer can chicken. Can't top this, you guys. This one right here is fire. Add a little fresh chopped parsley on top. Get a fork here and let's go ahead and get a little scoop for Coop. This buttery, flaky crust with that delicious, luxurious, savory filling on the inside. Whoo, y'all. Definitely need to try this one. Anytime you got some leftover chicken at the house, man, make this recipe. You will not be disappointed. There you have it, you guys. Chicken pot pie. Try this recipe out next time. You guys got a ton of leftover chicken at the house, but you're looking for something fire to do with it. Don't forget to let me know how you guys like it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with friend or foe. You already know. And we'll catch you right back here next week for another episode of Smell What Coop is Cooking.